The Palestinian prisoners started the freedom and dignity hunger strike demanding for their humanitarian rights as political prisoners. They were calling to stop the humiliation that is being acted against them by the Israeli authorities. They were demanding rights such as communicating with their families, getting visits from their family members without any exceptions, without any preventions by the Israeli authorities. The main demands that have been achieved are demands regarding the visits of the families. Instead of having one family visit a month, it became 2 family visits a month. The duration of the visit became from 40 minutes to 1 hour as agreed, and the granddaughters, grandsons will be allowed to visit their grandfathers and grandmothers if because before the hunger strike, they were prevented from visiting the second degree family members, as they call them. We're talking about many details that make a difference for the Palestinian prisoners, such as the TV channels were not allowed, adding some TV channels, the health conditions for the sick prisoners who suffer from cancers or heart problems or diabetes. All these problems aren't solved by the Israeli authorities, so now we will have some new treatment for the prisoners that need health care, and many other details that will be negotiated by the prisoners and the authorities. As we remember, in the first week of the hunger strike, the Israeli authorities refused to talk to the prisoners. They announced that they will leave them to die, they will not talk to them, they will not negotiate with them. And after 6 weeks of the hunger strike, they had to sit with the prisoners and accept some of the demands and postpone some of the other demands to the negotiations and to the dialogue between the two sides.
Why is the hunger strike the only way in prison to make Israeli government accept the prisoners' requests and demands?
Well, it's not the only way. It's the most peaceful way that our prisoners chose to use, because they called for humanitarian issues, humanitarian demands, and they don't want to use any other way to confront the Israeli authorities. It's the most peaceful way that could be used, and this is another sign of the freedom fighters that we have in the Israeli prisons. Those lawyers, doctors, activists are our heroes, are freedom fighters, and they are using the most civilized and peaceful ways to achieve their demands. Well, the hunger strike started with more than 1,500 prisoners out of 6,000 prisoners, Palestinian prisoners, but it was all the Palestinian factions were participating in this hunger strike, even if some factions had small numbers in the strikers. But the idea was that the prisoners' movement is united in front of the authorities, and this was a sign for the Palestinian people that unity comes first in order to get our liberation and get our rights. Well, but for tens of years, Israel have tried to label the Palestinian prisoners with terrorism, or they are fighting for no cause and stuff like that. Israel is trying to use its propaganda against the Palestinian prisoners and against the whole Palestinian cause. Well, we believe that our prisoners are freedom fighters, all of them. Israel cannot categorize our freedom fighters. Some people participated in this hunger strike. They were accused of posting something on Facebook, and some others They are accused of many other accusations by the Israelis. For us, all of them are freedom fighters, and the Israeli militant occupation have no right to arrest them or to have them imprisoned, because according to the international law, according to Geneva Accords, they were kidnapped from their areas, from their state, and transferred to another state. So if you go back to the international law, you will find that it's illegal to detain all these Palestinian prisoners with no rights guaranteed by the Israeli authorities. And that's why we believe that our Palestinian prisoners need to be released, and we will keep working and keep talking to the whole world until our prisoners will be released, because no peace or sustainability will be achieved in this area without the release of all Palestinian prisoners. I believe that in the last 10 years, many things have been accumulated. The campaign to free Marwan Barghouti and all Palestinian prisoners launched an international campaign from Nelson Mandela's cell in Robben Island in South Africa, with the help of our friends from all over the world, and especially by Mr. Ahmed Katrada, who just passed away. He was a very strong supporter of the international campaign to free Marwan Barghouti. He visited Palestine to participate in the Freedom and Dignity International Conference that took place here in Ramallah. And many parliament members in Europe, parliament members in Latin America, former ministers, current ministers, many people are participating, formal people are participating in the international campaign. And moreover, we have many civil institutions all over the world supporting our campaign, because it's very obvious for everybody that there will be no peace in this area without achieving the freedom of the Palestinian prisoners.
When was the last time you talked with your father?
It was almost 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yes.
What do you know about his health condition?
Well, we don't have many information. So far, none of the family have been able to visit him after the strike. Israel insists to put a siege on him, keep him disconnected from the whole world, keep him away from us. And the last thing we were informed of by the lawyer who visited him, the Knesset member, Mr. Qassam Barghouti, he told us that he lost more than 20 kilograms in this strike. He's 47 kilograms now, and this is an indicator that he's been in a very serious and critical situation during the strike days. And unfortunately, we are dealing with a very aggressive and inhumanitarian government that would put a siege on prisoners and torture them just because they're asking for, peacefully, they're asking for their humanitarian rights.